Most beginners hear the word interest rates, but they do not really understand why interest rates matter so much in Forex. Interest rates are one of the strongest forces behind currency movement, because money always looks for return. All else being equal, a currency with higher interest rates can become more attractive to investors. Investors may want to hold that currency because it offers a better return. But when interest rates are lower, that currency may become less attractive. This is the basic logic. Higher rates can support a currency. Lower rates can pressure a currency. But professional traders know Forex is not that simple. The market does not only care about today's interest rate. It cares more about the future path of interest rates. That means traders are not only watching what a central bank does today, they are watching what the central bank may do over the next few meetings. This is called interest rate expectation. And in Forex, interest rate expectation can move the market before the real decision happens. For example, if traders believe a central bank may raise interest rates soon, that currency may start rising early. Not because the rate has already changed, but because the market is preparing for what it expects next. The same logic works in the opposite direction. If traders believe a central bank may cut interest rates soon, that currency may start falling early. Again, not because the rate cut has already happened, but because the market is pricing it in. This is why beginners often feel confused. They wait for the official decision, but the market has already moved. By the time the news comes out, the best part of the move may already be over. So if you want to understand how interest rates affect Forex, do not only ask, what is the rate today? Ask, what does the market expect next? Because in Forex, the future path of interest rates often matters more than the current number. The next thing to understand is why central banks change interest rates. A central bank does not raise or cut rates randomly. It usually responds to the economy. If inflation is too high, a central bank may raise interest rates to slow the economy down. Higher rates can make borrowing more expensive. Businesses may spend less, consumers may borrow less, and demand may cool down. This can help reduce inflation pressure. That is why strong inflation data can make traders expect higher rates. And if traders expect higher rates, that currency may become stronger. But if the economy starts to weaken, a central bank may cut interest rates to support growth. Lower rates can make borrowing cheaper. Businesses may invest more. Consumers may spend more, and the economy may recover. But for the currency, lower rates can reduce its appeal. That is why weak economic data can make traders expect rate cuts. And if traders expect rate cuts, that currency may become weaker. This is why inflation data matters. This is why employment data matters. This is why growth data matters. Because these reports can change what traders think the central bank will do next. For example, if inflation comes in higher than expected, traders may think the central bank needs to stay aggressive. That can support the currency. But if inflation comes in lower than expected, traders may think the central bank can become more relaxed. That can weaken the currency. So the data itself is important, but the interest rate expectation behind the data is often even more important. Beginners often look at one report alone, but professional traders ask, how does this report change the future path of policy? That is the real question. Now here's the part that confuses many beginners. Sometimes a central bank raises interest rates, but the currency still falls. And sometimes a central bank cuts interest rates, but the currency does not fall much. Why does that happen? Because in Forex, the decision itself is not always the most important thing. What matters is whether the decision is different from what the market already expected. If traders already expected a rate hike, the currency may have moved up before the decision. So when the rate hike finally happens, the market may not rise again. It may even fall, because the good news was already priced in. This is called priced in. It means the market has already reacted before the official news comes out. That is why beginners often get trapped. They see a rate hike, so they think the currency must go up. But professional traders ask, was this already expected? Was the market already positioned for it? And what did the central bank say next? Because after the decision, the tone of the central bank can be more important than the decision itself. If a central bank raises rates but sounds less aggressive about the future, the currency may fall, because traders may think the tightening cycle is almost over. But if a central bank keeps rates unchanged and sounds very serious about inflation, the currency may rise, because traders may think more rate hikes are still possible later. This is why traders for two words, hawkish and dovish. Hawkish means the central bank sounds more likely to keep rates high or raise them further. That can support the currency. Dovish means the central bank sounds more likely to pause, cut rates, or support the economy. That can pressure the currency. So do not only watch the headline decision. Watch the market expectation before the decision. Watch the tone after the decision, and watch how price reacts in the first few minutes. If good news cannot push the currency higher, that is a warning. If bad news cannot push the currency lower, that is also a warning. Because the market reaction often tells you more than the news headline. This is why interest rates are powerful, but they must be read together with expectation, positioning, and the price reaction. In the next part, we'll bring this back to a simple trading framework that beginners can actually use. Now let's bring this back to a simple trading framework that beginners can actually use. When you look at interest rates, do not start with the headline. Start with market expectation. Before any major data release or central bank decision, ask this question: what does the market already expect? Is the market expecting higher rates? Is the market expecting lower rates? Or is the market unsure? This matters because price often moves before the official news. The second question is, does the new information change the expected path of interest rates? For example, if inflation is stronger than expected, does it make higher rates more likely? If employment is weaker than expected, does it make rate cuts more likely? If the central bank speaks, does the tone sound more hawkish or more dovish? You are not just reading the news. You are reading how the news changes future policy expectations. The third question is, how does price react? This is where many beginners make mistakes. They see good news and they immediately want to buy. They see bad news and they immediately want to sell. But professional traders do not react that quickly. They wait to see whether price confirms the story. If the news is good, but price cannot rise, that may mean the good news was already priced in. If the news is bad, but price cannot fall, that may mean sellers are already weak. So your framework is simple. First, check what the market expects. Second, check whether the new data changes interest rate expectations. Third, watch how price reacts after the news. And fourth, never trade the headline alone. Interest rates can move Forex, but they do not work alone. They work together with market expectation, central bank tone, economic data, market positioning, and price reaction. Once you understand this, you stop asking, why did the market move the opposite way? Instead, you start asking the right question. Was this already expected? Did the central bank sound hawkish or dovish? Did price confirm the news or reject it? That is how professional traders think about interest rates, not as one number, but as a complete market story. So the next time you see a rate decision, do not rush into a trade. Read the expectation, read the tone, read the price reaction, then decide whether the trade still makes sense. That is how interest rates become useful in real forex trading.